Hello, good day and welcome to my channel. I'm Tolu, and on this channel I share lessons that I've learned and that I'm learning, resources and encouragement that I believe will be beneficial to other young women out there. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch today's video. I hope you enjoy it and I hope you are blessed. In today's video, I'll be talking about my experience so far as a PhD Phase 1 student of the Berlin Mathematical School. If you haven't watched my previous video, then I think you should watch it before watching this one because it sort of gives a background for it. I talked about my experience as a diploma student at the Abdusalam International Center for Theoretical Physics, which was the program I completed before proceeding to begin this current program that I am in. So you can watch that video before watching this one or watch it after, whichever one works for you best. So what is the BMS? The BMS is an acronym for Berlin Mathematical School, and it is the graduate school of the Math Plus Cluster of Excellence. You can check out the website for a more detailed explanation, but the Math Plus is like a mathematical organization. They organize a lot of programs and also deal with a lot of funding for math related projects. There's a lot of things they do, and the Berlin Mathematical School is their graduate school. So the Berlin Mathematical School is made up of the mathematics department of 3 German universities, the Freie Universität zu Berlin, Humboldt Universität zu Berlin, and the Technische Universität zu Berlin. I hope I got the pronunciations right, but those are the Free University of Berlin, Humboldt University of Berlin, and the Technical University of Berlin. The Berlin Mathematical School offers a PhD program, and it's divided into 2 phases. Phase 1, where you take courses and sort of expand your mathematical knowledge and prepare for phase 2. In phase 2, you do research. You're a research student, and at the end of phase 2, you get a PhD. At the end of phase 1, you can choose to write a master's thesis and get a master's degree, or just write the BMS qualifying exam and proceed to phase 2. You can go through any of these routes, and it's also possible to be admitted directly into the phase 2 without going through the phase 1, especially if you've already completed a master's degree at some other university. The BMS also offers funded and non-funded positions, and depending on when you apply and whether or not you state it in your application, I think you'll be considered for funding. The BMS program is a really nice program. It's a really wonderful program, and one thing that stands out to me the most about them first is their administration. They have a very helpful administration. Like, they are very helpful and very supportive. They have a very helpful and supportive administration. They are like always ready to help you with every single thing, from your travel to your personal life during your stay in Berlin. Everything, they are always there to help, and they are really interested in the well-being of their students. This is one major thing about BMS that I think is peculiar to them, and you don't just find in every other graduate school. Another thing I like about the Berlin Mathematical School is their course program. They offer a very wide range of courses, ranging from algebraic geometry to data science, and they encourage you to explore these fields without putting a pressure on you to specialize early on. Like, they encourage you to try out different courses and different areas of mathematics to see what you actually enjoy doing, and then specialize as a result of that. And they don't expect you to come in already knowing that this is what you want to do. And that was like very helpful for me, because when I came, I did not really know what I wanted to do, and I was really looking for a program that would encourage me and give me an environment to where I could freely explore and take different courses, meet different professors, until I figured out what type of mathematics I wanted to specialize in. And this is exactly what the BMS Phase 1 program does for you. Like I said earlier, I'm presently a Phase 1 student, and I'll give a background now on how I got there. In my previous video, I talked about my experience in ICTP, and I said I reapplied to the BMS program during my stay in ICTP. I had already applied to the BMS earlier. You would know this if you watched the previous video in 2019, and I wasn't accepted. and I said that I wrote an email to them. This is one thing about the BMS administrative team. Like I said earlier, they are very understanding, they are very kind, they are very helpful. So they replied my email. I replied their rejection email saying that I was sad and what could I do to put in a better application next time. And they replied me and told me to go to to go to AIMS for a master's program. AIMS is an acronym for African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. I applied to AIMS after I got their mail, but I wasn't accepted. And it was after being rejected by AIMS that I got accepted by ICTP for the diploma program. So I went to ICTP. So after I applied to the BMS, after I submitted the online application, I did all that I was supposed to do, and I told my recommenders and asked them to please send recommendations for me. I wrote to the BMS again and told them that, oh, I'm Tolu. I introduced myself, told them I applied the previous year, showed them their mail to me, and told them that I applied to AIMS but was not accepted. But I went to ICTP, and the ICTP program is really similar to the AIMS program also. And so I would be happy if I was considered for this present application. I told them I'd already put in my application and looked forward to hearing from them. And they replied me and they told me that, okay, that I should just be on the lookout for, I should just be on the lookout for a mail from them to proceed to the second stage of the application. So I was happy and hopeful, although I wasn't still very sure. I also applied to other PhD programs during this time, and I think I got one other offer. I was rejected like in about 2 or 3 other places, but I got one other offer, a master's program. But I got this before I got the BMS offer, but I was hopeful to get the BMS offer because it was actually what I wanted. So a few weeks after I submitted my application, I got invited for an interview. The interview was better this time because I had actually understood mathematics much better than in 2019. It was better, but there were still some questions I wasn't able to answer, but I just hoped for the best. And then a few weeks after the interview, I was given the PhD phase 1 offer at the BMS. I was very excited and I started to apply for my visa. The visa application process was quite stressful. I don't know why. I think maybe because of the COVID pandemic at the time, there was a lot of delay. But thankfully, I got my visa and I moved to Berlin from Italy, and I started my phase 1 program, and I've been here since last year, September. I'm pretty new, but I finished a session, I've taken some courses, and now I'm in my 3rd semester, about to round up phase 1. After my 3rd semester, I'll proceed to my 4th semester and I'll be done with phase 1, take my qualifying exam and move on to phase 2 where I'll be doing research. So I hope to share this journey with you as I go on. Enjoyed my stay here so far. Another thing that the BMS does is that apart from the coursework and all, they organize seminars from time to time called soft skills seminars. For example, I attended one last semester on voice and speech training. There are also some on intercultural training, some for time management, like over a wide range of topics. These seminars cover a wide range of topics and are always very helpful. Also, twice a month, I think there are the Math Plus Fridays, where a mathematician who is a professor at some other institute is invited to come to give a talk, and they talk about their research. We really get to learn and hear from these very intelligent and wise people. Together with some other BMS students, I even got to have lunch with Marina Viazovska, the 2022 Fields medalist from Ukraine, just before she won the Fields medal, and attend a talk given by her. This was all organized by the BMS, and it's such a beautiful opportunity to get to hear these mathematicians speak to us about what their research is, and it sort of prepares us for these kinds of things too. So I'm really happy about this program and I've enjoyed my stay here so far. Berlin is also a very beautiful city, and the BMS students are also very nice and very lovely to interact with. So it has been beautiful so far. So if you are considering applying so if you are considering applying to the BMS, I would encourage you to. The program is a really nice one and you get to actually learn a lot. The courses are really very helpful. You are assigned an advisor, you get a lot of support. The BMS gives you an advisor who is a faculty in one of the universities, and you can easily go to him to ask questions about what you have doubts about. You also have a mentor who is an older student, more easily accessible in case you are not confident enough to interact with your advisor. And then there's always the BMS administrative staff, always helpful, always ready to help with information or whatever it is that you need. So it's a beautiful program in all, and I'm so happy that I get to live my dream and be here again. I'm thankful to everyone that has been helpful, that has been instrumental in my stay here. One very important part of this story is my parents' influence. They have been very influential in my journey so far. And one particular instance I would like to mention in this video is when I was in ICTP preparing to submit applications for these PhD programs. There was a period when I wasn't sure I wanted to do a PhD. For some reason, I just felt like I did not want to do a PhD. I don't know, I was having a lot of doubts about it. And then I spoke to my parents about it and they were very concerned because they knew that this is something that I had always wanted to do. So they spoke to me. I spoke to them over the phone and they were like, okay, like nobody's going to force you to do a PhD if you don't want. But then just apply. Like they really understood that it was probably just a phase and I would come out of it, and they did not want me to come out of it and regret missing the opportunity because of the opportunity, or missing a year because of how I felt at that time. And they told me to just apply, and at least when you get the application, when you get the positions, then you can decide to reject or to accept the offers. And I'm so thankful for the advice at this time. Thank you so much, mommy and daddy, for being there, for your wise counsel to me at this very crucial point, at that very crucial point of my time. So they told me to apply and I applied, and that was like, at least that was why I was able to even get an offer in the first place. And by the time I got the offer, I was already over that phase, and I knew that I wanted to proceed to do a PhD. So I just wanted to put that bit in there, like to really appreciate them. Thank you so much, mommy and daddy, for your help and for your advice. So that has been my experience at the PMS so far. If you are watching, I hope you've been able to pick one or two lessons at least from my story. I hope it has encouraged you or inspired you in some ways. Listen to your parents, at least consider their advice. You may not always do exactly what they tell you, but take their advice into consideration. They want the best for you most of the time. And then also, if you receive a rejection letter from a university or an institution, you can try to write back to them to ask what went wrong, just like to try to get some sort of feedback. They may not always reply, but at least you can try. It won't cost you anything to try. And then what else did you pick up from this video? You can drop a comment below and let me know. I'll be happy to hear from you, and other people passing by might also read the comments and be blessed. So thank you so much for watching. You can watch my previous video about my stay at ITTP, and you can also check my channel to find other videos that I believe will be a blessing to you. Thank you so much. Bye. And one more thing, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Subscribe and share with a friend that you believe will be blessed or inspired or motivated by this video. Thank you. Bye.